Okay guys, so I'm doing this video because somebody requested it for me to do it in English. I originally did it in Spanish. It's just a very quick, not very much in detail of how I do a refill. I was going to wait until I got better, but it seems I'm only getting worse, and I didn't want to just postpone it until I felt better, but I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to tell it by my voice. I do hope that it's still understandable and that I don't sound too horrible. And as you can see, I accidentally dropped the camera. I was actually recording on my cell phone, so please do pardon that. It's not as crisp and as clear, and I noticed that I went in and out of focus several times throughout the video, so I do apologize for that. But anyways, I'm using my Koopa nail drill, and I'm using the safety carbide bit, and I'm just going around the nail, the cuticle area. I use the safety bit because it has the rounded tapered point, therefore it's not going to cut my skin, and it's not sharp in that pointy rounded area, and it's also not too coarse so that it won't, cut my skin if I happen to go over it. But I do want to emphasize how I am very careful to not leave the drill on one area, otherwise I can cause like that burning sensation, or I can actually damage my natural nail plate. So, and you probably can't tell in the video, but I'm not just going back and forth. I'm actually going in one direction, and I raise the drill a bit, and then I put it back down, and I go down with the drill, and I'm not using force at all. I'm just letting the drill bit do its work on itself, and I'm just making sure to move it around. Like I said, I don't want to burn my nail plate. I don't want to hurt or thin my nail plate. I'm only doing it on the acrylic. I'm doing my refill, therefore I'm only doing it where I have acrylic that has either lifted or outgrown. And just being very careful. It looks like I'm going back and forth. I'm not. I want to emphasize that. I am not going back and forth. I'm lifting. I go up, and then I lift my drill. I place it down again, and then I lift it again, just so that I avoid that heating sensation, like that burning or any damage to the nail. And I do apologize. I know it's very wiggly. Now I'm just removing the dust, observing, looking around the nail, see where it is that I need to keep working. And I do this constantly just to make sure, I'm not over filing, or that I'm not missing an area that I need to file. And here, since I noticed that I already cleaned around the cuticle area, I go in with my medium barrel bit, also a carbide, but this is the regular one. It does not have the safety tip. As you can see, it's just really sharply rounded at the end. And with that, I'm very carefully going right behind wherever I have lifting. And I do say behind and very carefully, because I don't want to get that near my skin, since that one doesn't have a very sharp edge. It will definitely cut my skin, and it will hurt. I've done it before. That's why I want to emphasize doing it very carefully, and of course, especially with this one, I do it at a much slower speed, and always remember to lift. I don't stay in one place, otherwise it will burn, it will hurt, and that's not what we want. And I'm sorry if I'm sounding like out of breath. I cannot talk and breathe at the same time, so I'm sorry. I just didn't want to postpone this any longer, and since I had to stay from work, I figured, hey, I'll just do the voiceover right now. But yeah, I like to go over and remove the actual acrylic and gel top coat on the tip, even though I don't really have to. But I just like to do it every time I do a refill. I just think it's much more neater, much more neat, clean work, and I don't mind doing it. I just like it because then it's more even when I apply the acrylic. But there's really no need to do that if your nail tip is fine, it's not damaged or anything like that. But that's just my personal preference. I think it goes for a smoother acrylic application, and I think it gives it a more uniform look. And a lot of people asked me on the Spanish video about if it was a nail tip or if it was just white powder acrylic. And no, this one's actually a nail tip. And I guess they ask because it does look very, very white. And yes, it does. I love these tips. I actually got these at Sally's Beauty Supply, and it's not the brand, not like the ASP brand or anything like that. It's actually the ones, I think it's called, actually I don't know what it's called, but it's a clear package, and I think it's called like Extreme White or Intense White, and they really are. They've maintained really good. I like these a lot. What you saw me applying here after I removed the dust is the Line Be Gone, or the Line Out from Super Nail, I believe. Also, I got it at Sally's, and I just added to the area where the outgrown acrylic is showing, and with the very light used file, I'm filing that out, and that's just going to help to diminish the appearance of the old acrylic, and so that it's not so noticeable after I apply my new acrylic over it. And yeah, it actually does help diminish that old refill line. So that's what I'm doing here, and I do want to emphasize using a soft file, not so coarse, because since I am doing this over part of my natural nail, I don't want to damage it. And in the video, somehow it always looks like I'm doing it much more coarse than I really am, or much more harder, but I'm really not. It's not supposed to hurt, it's not supposed to burn. So here I'm going to show you what I'm going to do my nail bed with. After I've cleaned it, I did go wash it with water to remove all the dust, and then I also applied some alcohol. Now I'm going to apply some dehydrant, and the dehydrant that I'll be using is the ASP, and I'm just going to apply that wherever there is the natural nail, not the acrylic. So there is the ASP, and I am applying it, like I said, all around, only where there is my natural nail, not on the acrylic. And this is how I usually prepare, or how I always prepare my nail bed. Here I'm using the Something Wonderful Protein Bond from Nail Light. I got it at naillightinc.com. And usually I apply 1 to 2 coats, usually 2 coats of the primer, or the protein bond. But you obviously use whatever you have on hand. I started with the ASP primer, actually with the Beauty Secrets primer. This is the nail bed color that I'm using. As you can see, it's much more intense pink, but it's still transparent. I am using as a base the intense pink from naillight.com or naillightinc.com, and to make it more intense, I am using the Pink Flamingo from Pearl X Pigments, and this one I found at Michael's, the craft store. Yep, that's where I got it, and that's what I use to color my pigment, and it does this beautiful transparent pink. I just add a very little pinch of that. Like I said, as a base I use the Nail Light ink, the Omega Transparent Intense Pink. Make sure it's transparent unless you want the cover, but I like the transparent. And then I just add a pinch of that Pink Flamingo. Make sure I mix it and stir it up well, break up all the little pieces of pigment so that I don't have any clumps. And then as you see me, I removed a little bit of the liquid right before applying the pearl to my nail, because it helps me have more control and it's not runny. So then I just pat and apply and drag in a few areas very lightly. When I drag, I don't put pressure when I drag. It's very, very lightly. Make sure I clean up around the nail, the nail tip, so that I don't have any pink over the white, since it is a very intense pink. and it's transparent, you're gonna see exactly where one color starts and the other ends, and we don't want that. When I originally did the set, I was in such a hurry that I wasn't careful, and on that same thumb I accidentally went over with the pink over on into the white, and I didn't see it until I had finished the next day. It was so late and I was just tired and I was in a hurry, and it drove me crazy, so I had to fix it a few days later because I couldn't stand it. I'm OCD like that. But yeah, it doesn't look pretty when you have transparent intense pink over your white French. It just doesn't look pretty. Now I'm just encapsulating, getting some clear acrylic, and I'm also using from the Omega line from Now Light Ink. That's usually where I get all of my stuff, all of my acrylic, like monomer powders and some of my tools. Is just very, very affordable, and in general I've had pretty good customer service with them. And a quick tip, you don't have to order $25 worth in order to order through them. You can actually call them and place an order that is less than $25, because if you do it online, they do require a minimum of $25, but you don't actually have to order $25 worth of product. Just a quick tip. I didn't know I was able to do that, and then I did. So yeah, you don't have to spend a lot. So I'm just patting, and I like to connect my pearls of acrylic, so that's why you see me brushing up and down, just to make it much more even, much more easy when it's time to file. And like I said, I'm sorry that I get out of frame so much, but I had my phone on top of that huge gallon of acetone that I also got from Now Light Ink. I'm telling you, I get most of my stuff there. And no, I'm not being sponsored or paid. I buy these with my own blood and sweat or whatever. So after my acrylic has semi-dried, it becomes opaque. I use this tool called a pinching tool, and it's just to give that little C curve at the, so that they don't look so flat open. It gives it that C nice curve at the tip, and then also it strengthens your nail much more. So that's what I'm doing there, just giving light little pinches, and no, it shouldn't hurt. But you also have to make sure that your acrylic is semi-dry. Not 100%, but yeah, not where it'll leave an impression. If your tool is leaving an impression, then you didn't wait long enough. It's when it's very opaque color. Now I'm just changing my drill bit, and I'm putting the sanding band. And also being very careful with that one. Even though it's not the carbide and it's not as sharp, you still need to be careful. I'm always emphasizing that. And here the same thing goes. I lift. I don't go back and forth. I lift my drill between each passing that I do. And I do go at a little bit of a higher speed with the sanding bit, because it's easier for me to control, and I'm not such a chicken with it. But at first I would, but yep. And I like to go from the up and down, just because I like to give it that smooth feeling at the tip. I want it to be, to give the correct structure to the nail, where it's a little bit, right at the cuticle, it's nice and flat, flush to the nail. And then as you go up towards the middle of your nail, it's supposed to be a little bit more rounded, a little bit thicker, not thick, but just slightly more thicker, bubbly. And then as you go down to the tip of the nail, it goes flush down also. So that's the reason that I like to do the filing from the nail bit down to the tip also. But I only do it in one direction. I lift between each time I file. I'm not filing directly going up and down, up and down. No, I lift between each time. Oh my gosh, guys, I am like out of breath. I probably sound like I'm running a marathon. But basically, that's it. That's how I do my file. Not to record, as always in my videos. I did file down the side walls and the front with a hand file. I do that first before going with my nail drill. But But yeah, I always forget some steps here and there. And before I applied the acrylic, I also washed my hands. Just wanted to make sure I mentioned that because I think I forgot to do so before. But yeah, and I like to look at my nail, you know, like looking at it from the tip angle and making sure I have a nice even surface and that it goes, you know, from flushed at the nail bed to a little bit bubbly at the middle, which is where we need strength, and then down as it goes to the tip of the nail, it goes back down. So here I am just, I believe, removing dust. I believe, I don't remember. I'm probably cleaning my nail or so. I don't know what I'm doing. I forgot. I'm sorry. It wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't get out of frame. I'm trying hard to not do that anymore. Oh, I am buffing my nail. There you go. I'm buffing with a medium. I can't remember if that's a 100, 180, but it's the orange buffer block. And I'm just buffing away. On the, see all that powder? I normally, what I would do is I go and wash my hands and I clean them and I dry them very well, make sure I don't have any dust. But here I'm buffing again with a more lighter buffing block, the white block. Even though it says with the gel top coat you don't have to buff, I do, because I think you can still, I've done it without buffing the nail and I still notice the filing lines, and of course I don't like that. So I make sure to buff away and make it nice and even and brush away the dust. One direction. I'm also lifting. I don't brush up the nail. It's only down to the tip and lift and keep on brushing so that you don't shove any dust up in your nail bed and nothing gets stuck in there. And I do actually recommend washing hands. I did alcohol right there. Well, I normally do that. I do alcohol to clean up right inside, underneath, and all near the cuticle area, and then I go and wash my hands. But for the sake of the video, I just go ahead and do that, and then I show you the end result right there. That's basically how it looks. After the video, I went to wash my hands and do the top coat. But this is the high gloss sealer that I used from Nailite. This one I'm just showing you. I'm not going to do a refill on that one because it's not so bad and I was in a hurry. It was in my lunch hour. But yeah, this is the basic design. I just did a little bit of glitter and conad stamping, as you can see right there. And that was it. Very simple refill, very simple set. Hope you guys like it. See ya.